Moreover, they emit 70% of the greenhouse gas emissions. So I'm just saying, small business, there are a lot of them, very important that they be exempt from EPA regulations. Very common sense, general rule okay, but exempt agriculture and exempt small business.
Senator from Montana has consumed your 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Madam President.
The senator from Oklahoma.
A point of inquiry, not to be taken away from the time that I have. The inquiry is, when we get into the 4 votes, are we going to have time for or against additional time arguing the amendments?
There are 2 minutes of debate equally divided between the stacked votes.
Okay, so I would assume then, I would ask the Chair that these 2 minutes then are going to the minutes having to do with the Baucus Amendment, the first one we vote on. Is that correct?
The Senator Baucus has 1 minute. Senator Boxer and Senator Inhofe.
Okay.
Each has 1 minute.
On the Baucus Amendment.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I thank the Chair very much. Let me go ahead, in deference to my good friend Senator Boxer, I said I'll go first and you can go last. Let me just mention this is on only the Baucus Amendment. Yes, the Senator is right in presenting his amendment that it does exempt farmers and some small businesses from the higher costs and all that. But here's the problem with that. All you have to do is read the statement by the American Farm Bureau where they say, look, all of our farmers across America, even if this only affects the refiners and the manufacturers, that increases the cost of fuel. And the cost of fuel is going to go higher, and you don't get anything for it. And for that reason, they oppose the Baucus Amendment.
Madam President.
The senator from California.
Madam President, when Senator Baucus talked to me about his amendment, it sounded quite reasonable to make sure that we codify the tailoring rule of EPA, which really exempts broad swaths of American businesses from their work on enforcing carbon pollution reductions. But as it came out, and I've discussed this with him, it goes further. It harms the promotion of clean, renewable biomass, effectively stopping EPA's ability to use the Clean Air Act to encourage this kind of alternative energy. It also undermines the Clean Air Act's new source review program for carbon pollution, which ensures that the biggest polluters use modern pollution control technologies. It basically says the EPA cannot go and enforce it using the new source review unless there's another pollutant involved. So as the chairman of the Environment and Public Works Committee, I have deep concerns. The Baucus Amendment is opposed by leading public health organizations, American Lung Association, the Public Health Association, the Thoracic Society, Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, Physicians for Social Responsibility, the Trust for America's Health, as well as clean energy, business, environment, and conservation organizations. And for that reason, although I really fully understood the initial intent and I thought it was laudable, this has transformed into an amendment that I don't support and the leading public health organizations do not support. So I would urge a no vote on the Baucus Amendment. And I yield the floor.
All time has expired. The question is on the Baucus Amendment number 236. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka, Mr. Alexander, Ms. Ayotte, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Baucus, Mr. Begich, Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bingaman, Mr. Blumenthal, Mr. Blunt, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Boxer, Mr. Brown of Massachusetts, Mr. Brown of Ohio, Mr. Burr, Ms. Cantwell, Mr. Cardin, Mr. Carper, Mr. Casey, Mr. Chambliss, Mr. Coates, Mr. Coburn, Mr. Cochran, Ms. Collins, Mr. Conrad, Mr. Coons, Mr. Corker, Mr. Cornyn, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Dement, Mr. Durbin, Mr. Ensign, Mr. Enzi, Mrs. Feinstein, Mr. Franken, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mrs. Hagan, Mr. Harkin, Mr. Hatch, Mr. Hoven, Mrs. Hutchison, Mr. Inhofe, Mr. Inouye, Mr. Isaacson, Mr. Johans, Mr. Johnson of Wisconsin, Mr. Johnson of South Dakota, Mr. Kerry, Mr. Kirk, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Cole, Mr. Kyle, Ms. Landrieu, Mr. Lautenberg, Mr. Leahy, Mr. Lee, Mr. Levin, Mr. Lieberman, Mr. Lugar, Mr. Manchin, Mr. McCain, Mrs. McCaskill, Mr. McConnell, Mr. Menendez, Mr. Merkley, Ms. Mikulski, Mr. Moran, Ms. Murkowski, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Nelson of Nebraska, Mr. Nelson of Florida, Mr. Paul, Mr. Portman, Mr. Pryor, Mr. Reed of Rhode Island, Mr. Reed of Nevada, Mr. Risch, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Rockefeller, Mr. Rubio, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Sessions, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Shelby, Ms. Snow, Ms. Stabenow, Mr. Tester, Mr. Thune, Mr. Toomey. Mr. Udall of Colorado. Mr. Udall of New Mexico. Mr. Vitter. Mr. Warner. Mr. Webb. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Wicker. Mr. Wyden. Senators voting in the affirmative: Baucus and Hagan. Senators voting in the negative: Blumenthal, Boxer, Inhofe, Isaacson, Johans, Merkley, Murray, Stabenow, and Vitter. Mr. Leahy, no. Mr. Dement. Mr. Dement, no. Mr. Conrad. Mr. Conrad, aye. Ms. Ayotte. Ms. Ayotte, no. Ms. Klobuchar, aye. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chambliss, no. Mr. Begich, aye. Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, no. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Durbin, no. Mr. McConnell. Mr. McConnell, no. Mr. Kyle. Mr. Kyle, no. Mr. Lugar. Mr. Lugar, no. Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown of Massachusetts, no. Mr. Nelson of Nebraska, no. Mr. Coates. Mr. Coates, no. Mr. Coburn. Mr. Coburn, no. Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, no. Mr. Grassley. Mr. Grassley, no. Mr. Bozeman. Mr. Bozeman, no. Mr. Inouye. Mr. Inouye, no. Ms. Cantwell. Ms. Cantwell, no. Mr. Enzi. Mr. Enzi, no. Mr. Portman. Mr. Portman, no. Mr. Udall. Mr. Udall of New Mexico, no. Mrs. Gillibrand. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Mr. Cochran. Mr. Cochran, no. Mr. Coons. Mr. Coons, no. Ms. Collins. Ms. Collins, no. Mr. Nelson. Mr. Nelson of Florida, no. Mr. Bingaman. Mr. Bingaman, no. Mr. Wicker, no. Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Tester. Mr. Tester, no. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson of Wisconsin, no. Mr. Ensign, no. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Roberts, no. Mr. Casey. Mr. Casey, no. Mr. Shelby. Mr. Shelby, no. Mr. Kirk. Mr. Kirk, no. Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, no. Ms. Snow. Ms. Snow, no. Mr. Rubio. Mr. Rubio, no. Mr. Hoeven. Mr. Hoeven, no. Mr. Lieberman. Mr. Lieberman, no. Mr. Moran. Mr. Moran, no. Mr. Corker. Mr. Corker, no. Mr. Franken. Mr. Franken, no. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham, no. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Crapo, no. Mr. Risch. Mr. Risch, no. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Sessions, no. Mr. Schumer. No. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Sanders. Mr. Sanders, no. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson of South Dakota, aye. Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed of Rhode Island, no. Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed of Nevada, no. Mr. Webb. Mr. Webb, no. Mr. Kerry. Mr. Kerry, no. Mr. Rockefeller. Mr. Rockefeller, no. Mr. Menendez. Mr. Menendez, no. Mr. Alexander. Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Barrasso, no. Mr. Akaka. Mr. Akaka, no. Mr. McCain. Mr. McCain, no. Ms. Landrieu, no. Mr. Cardin. Mr. Cardin, no. Mrs. Hutchison. Mrs. Hutchison, no. Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Cornyn, no. Mr. Blunt. Mr. Blunt, no. Mrs. Shaheen. Mrs. Shaheen, no. Mrs. Feinstein. Mrs. Feinstein, no. Mr. Alexander. Mr. Alexander, no. Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown of Ohio, no. Mr. Wyden. Mr. Wyden, no. Mr. Harkin. Mr. Harkin, no. Mr. Pryor. Mr. Pryor, no. Mr. Burr. Mr. Burr, no. Mr. Manchin. Mr. Manchin, no. Mr. Hatch. Mr. Hatch, no. Mr. Cole. Mr. Cole, no. Ms. Murkowski. Ms. Murkowski, no. Mr. Lautenberg. Mr. Lautenberg, no. Mr. Carper. Mr. Carper, no. Mr. Levin. Mr. Levin, aye. Mr. Udall. Mr. Udall of Colorado, no. Mr. Toomey. Mr. Toomey, no. Mrs. McCaskill, no. Thune. Mr. Thune? No. Ms. Mikulski? No.
Are there any senators in the chamber wishing to vote or to change their vote? On this vote, the yeas are 7 and the nays are 93. Under the previous order requiring 60 votes for the adoption of this amendment, the amendment is not agreed to. There are now 2 minutes of debate on the Stabenow amendment.
Madam President.
Who yields time? The senator from Michigan.
Thank you, Madam President. For years, I have consistently and repeatedly said that we need to have a balanced and comprehensive American energy policy. We can't just impose regulations. We need smart incentives to create the technology for a clean energy economy. The Stabenow-Brown Amendment is based on the framework that has been worked on a bipartisan basis for the past 2 years to develop a truly comprehensive clean energy policy that would allow us to phase in regulations. This amendment would allow the EPA to do their work, but would have the enforcement of that work be done in 2 years. We would build on the success of the Advanced Energy Manufacturing Credit, known as 48C, that has created jobs at 183 businesses in 43 states. We have put the right incentives in place because we know when we do that, we help businesses create good-paying jobs, and we can reduce carbon pollution at the same time. Our amendment also allows what the EPA has indicated as their intention toward agriculture by giving our producers the certainty that they need. The amendment, Madam President, is a common-sense approach to addressing the issue of clean energy. I would ask for support.
The senator from California.
Madam President, just a parliamentary inquiry. Senator Inhofe and I are going to each speak for 30 seconds. Is that compliant with what we decided?
The senators have that right.
All right.
The senator from California.
Could I have order?
Order in the chambers.
Thank you. Colleagues and friends, the Stabenow amendment suspends full implementation of the Clean Air Act as it relates to carbon pollution for 2 years, which is going to cost jobs, it's going to harm America's competitiveness, and worse than that, I think around here, delay sometimes is a code word for never. A 2-year delay could become a long-term delay, it becomes more expensive, and in the meantime, our air gets dirtier. And I'll close with this. 68% of the people, this is 2 months ago this poll was taken, believe that Congress should not stop EPA from enforcing Clean Air Act standards. And yet this amendment and all of the others do just that. Let's stand with the people, with the American Lung Association, with the physicians who have taken a stand against all of these amendments, and allow the EPA to do its job. I yield to...
Has expired. The senator from Oklahoma.
Madam President, let me just join my friend from California and say that the Stabenow amendment is very similar to the one we voted on before. It admits the EPA will harm manufacturers, but it doesn't do anything to protect anyone from the higher price of energy. The farmers will tell you that, and everyone else will tell you that. The 2-year delay, so when it expires, the EPA can drop its regulatory hammer on farmers and businesses. I urge your vote against the Stabenow amendment.
The question is on the amendment number 277. The yeas and nays, is there a efficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka, Mr. Alexander, Ms. Ayotte, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Baucus, Mr. Begich, Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bingaman, Mr. Blumenthal, Mr. Blunt, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Boxer, Mr. Brown of Massachusetts, Mr. Brown of Ohio, Mr. Burr, Ms. Cantwell, Mr. Cardin, Mr. Carper, Mr. Casey, Mr. Chambliss, Mr. Coates, Mr. Coburn, Mr. Cochran, sure. Ms. Collins, sure. Sure. Mr. Conrad, Mr. Coons, Mr. Corker, Mr. Cornyn, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Dement, Mr. Durbin, Mr. Ensign, Mr. Enzi, Mrs. Feinstein, Mr. Franken, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, oh, just set it down. Set it down, just change it, okay? Sure. Set it down, yes. Mrs. Hagan, Mr. Harkin, Mr. Hatch, Mr. Hoven, sir. Mrs. Hutchison, Mr. Inhofe, Mr. Inouye, Mr. Isaacson, Mr. Johans, Mr. Johnson of Wisconsin, Mr. Johnson of South Dakota, Mr. Kerry, Mr. McCain, Mr. Kerry, Mr. Kirk, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Cole, Mr. Kyle, yes. Mr. Brown. Ms. Landrieu, Mr. Lautenberg, Mr. Leahy, Mr. Lee, Mr. Levin, Mr. Lieberman, Mr. Lugar, Mr. Manchin, Mr. McCain, Mrs. McCaskill, Mr. McConnell, Mr. Menendez, Mr. Merkley, Ms. Mikulski, Mr. Moran, Ms. Murkowski, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Nelson of Nebraska, Mr. Nelson of Florida, Mr. Paul, Mr. Portman, Mr. Pryor, Mr. Reed of Rhode Island, Mr. Reed of Nevada, Mr. Risch, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Rockefeller, Mr. Rubio, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Sessions, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Shelby, Ms. Snow, Ms. Stabenow, Mr. Tester, Mr. Thune, Mr. Toomey, Mr. Udall of Colorado, Mr. Udall of New Mexico, Mr. Vitter, Mr. Warner, Mr. Webb, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden. Senators voting in the affirmative: Brown of Ohio, Casey, Johnson of South Dakota, Pryor, and Stabenow. Senators voting in the negative: Akaka, Alexander, Ayotte, Barrasso, Begich, Bingaman, Blumenthal, Blunt, Bozeman, Boxer, Brown of Massachusetts, Burr, Cardin, Carper, Chambliss, Coburn, Cochran, Collins, Corker, Crapo, Dement, Ensign, Enzi, Feinstein, Franken, Graham, Hagan, Hatch, Hoeven, Inhofe, Inouye, Isaacson, Johans, Johnson of Wisconsin, Kirk, Kyle, Lautenberg, Leahy, Lee, Levin, Lugar, McCain, McConnell, Menendez, Mikulski, Moran, Murkowski, Murray, Nelson of Nebraska, Nelson of Florida, Paul, Reed of Nevada, Roberts, Rockefeller, Rubio, Sanders, Shelby, Tester, Thune, Udall of Colorado, Udall of New Mexico, Vitter, Warner, Webb, Whitehouse, Wicker, and Wyden. Mr. Harkin, no. Mr. Toomey. Mr. Toomey, no. Ms. Landrieu. Ms. Landrieu, no. Mr. Manchin. Mr. Manchin, no. Mrs. Hutchison. Mrs. Hutchison, no. Mr. Coons. Mr. Coons, no. Mr. Merkley. Mr. Merkley, no. Mr. Portman. Mr. Portman, no. Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Cornyn, No, Mrs. Shaheen. Mrs. Shaheen. No, Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed of Rhode Island. No, Mrs. Gillibrand. Mrs. Gillibrand. No, Mr. Lieberman. Mr. Lieberman. No. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Durbin. No. Mr. Conrad, aye. Mr. Grassley. Mr. Grassley, no. Mr. Coates, no. Mr. Carey. Mr. Carey, no. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Sessions, no. Mr. Cole, no. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Risch. Mr. Risch, no. Ms. Snow, no. Ms. Klobuchar. Ms. Klobuchar, aye. Ms. Cantwell, no. Mr. Baucus. Mr. Baucus, no. Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, no. Mrs. McCaskill. Mrs. McCaskill, no.
Are there any senators wishing to vote or to change your vote? On this vote, the yeas are 7, the nays are 93. Under the previous order requiring 60 votes for the adoption of this amendment is not agreed to. Under the previous order, there are now 2 minutes of debate equally divided prior to a vote in relation to amendment number 215 offered by the senator from West Virginia. The senator from West Virginia.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President,
May the Senate be in order.
my plan would put EPA on hold for 2 years and no more, but not on hold in many of its other duties, for example, CAFE standards. Many of our colleagues don't realize, and certainly the ones who are going to support the McConnell bill don't realize, that 31% of all greenhouse gas emissions in this country come from the backs of trucks and cars. I don't stop them from going ahead and doing that. What I want is some breathing space so that we can take 2 years. Yes, there's a lot of frustration in my state about EPA and permits, and I understand that very well. But I want to take 2 years so that we can sort of think together as a body and actually come up with an energy policy. I'm ready for that. I'm not the same person I was 2 or 3 years ago on this subject, but we need that time. And so I ask my colleagues respectfully to support my amendment, which stops at the end of 2 years, which continues the use of CAFE standards, allowing EPA to set those, and I ask my colleagues to vote against the McConnell amendment, which I think is truly a stunning aberration.
Madam President. Madam President.
The senator from Maryland.
Madam President, I'll take 30 seconds and then yield to my friend, Senator Inhofe. For the reasons we've already said about public health, for the protection of our Clean Air Act, I'm going to urge my colleagues to defeat the Rockefeller Amendment. But let me just add one other point. The American renewable energy industry has written to us and has told us that the uncertainty of a 2-year delay is more than 2 years. And it causes American renewable energy companies to be at a disadvantage with foreign energy companies, costing American jobs. Uncertainty adds to job loss in America. For the sake of the public health of Americans, for the sake of our economy, I urge my colleagues to reject the Rockefeller Amendment.
Madam President.
The senator from Oklahoma.
Yeah, the 2-year delay just encourages bureaucrats to stall new permits, and it doesn't really accomplish anything. It delays new construction, delays new jobs. One of the interesting things about all 3 of these bills is everyone agrees that the EPA should not be regulating greenhouse gases. You know, if you're going to have a root canal, does it really help to wait 2 years? I urge you to vote against it.
The question is on the amendment. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka, Mr. Alexander, Ms. Ayotte, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Baucus, Mr. Begich, Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bingaman, Mr. Blumenthal, Mr. Blunt, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Boxer, Mr. Brown of Massachusetts, Mr. Brown of Ohio, Mr. Burr. Ms. Cantwell. Mr. Cardin. Mr. Carper. Mr. Casey. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Coates. Mr. Coburn. Mr. Cochran. Ms. Collins. Mr. Conrad. Mr. Coons. Mr. Corker. Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Crapo. Mr. DeMint. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Ensign. Mr. Enzi. Mrs. Feinstein. Mr. Franken. Mrs. Gillibrand. Mr. Graham. Mr. Grassley. Mrs. Hagan. Mr. Harkin. Mr. Hatch. Mr. Hoven. Mrs. Hutchison. Mr. Inhofe. Mr. Inouye. Mr. Isaacson. Mr. Inhofe. Mr. Inouye. Mr. Isaacson. Mr. Johans. Mr. Johnson of Wisconsin. Mr. Johnson of South Dakota. Mr. Kerry. Mr. Kirk. Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Cole, Mr. Kyle, Ms. Landrieu, Mr. Lautenberg, Mr. Leahy, Mr. Lee, Mr. Levin, Mr. Lieberman, Mr. Lugar, Mr. Manchin, Mr. McCain, Mrs. McCaskill, Mr. McConnell, Mr. Menendez, Mr. Merkley, Ms. Mikulski, Mr. Moran, Ms. Murkowski, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Nelson of Nebraska, Mr. Nelson of Florida, Mr. Paul, Mr. Portman, Mr. Pryor, Mr. Reed of Rhode Island, Mr. Portman, Mr. Pryor, Mr. Reed of Rhode Island, Mr. Reed of Nevada, Mr. Risch, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Rockefeller, Mr. Rubio, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Sessions, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Shelby, Ms. Snow, Ms. Stabenow, Mr. Tester, Mr. Thune, Mr. Toomey, Mr. Udall of Colorado, Mr. Udall of New Mexico, Mr. Vitter, Mr. Warner, Mr. Webb, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden. Senators voting in the affirmative: Brown of Massachusetts, Collins, Conrad, Graham, Johnson of South Dakota, Landrieu, Manchin, McCaskill, Nelson of Nebraska, Pryor, Rockefeller, Webb. Senators voting in the negative: Akaka, Alexander, Ayotte, Barrasso, Baucus, Bennett, Bingaman, Blumenthal, Blunt, Bozeman, Boxer, Burr, Cantwell, Cardin, Carper, Casey, Chambliss, Coates, Coburn, Cochran, Coons, Corker, Cornyn, Crapo, DeMint, Durbin, Ensign, Enzi, Feinstein, Franken, Grassley, Hagan, Harkin, Hatch, Hoeven, Hutchison, Inhofe, Inouye, Isaacson, Johans, Johnson of Wisconsin, Kerry, Kirk, Klobuchar, Cole, Kyle, Lautenberg, Leahy, Lee, Levin, Lieberman, Lugar, McCain, Menendez, Merkley, Mikulski, Moran, Murray, Nelson of Florida, Hall, Portman, Risch, Roberts, Rubio, Sanders, Sessions, Shaheen, Snow, Stabenow, Tester, Thune, Toomey, Udall of Colorado, Udall of New Mexico, Vitter, Warner, Whitehouse, Wicker, Wyden. Mr. Brown of Ohio, Mr. Brown of Ohio, no. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Ms. Murkowski, No. Mr. Begich? Mr. Begich? No. Mr. Shelby? Mr. Shelby? No. Mr. Reed of Rhode Island? Mr. Reed of Rhode Island? No. Mr. McConnell? Mr. McConnell? No. Mr. Schumer? Mr. Schumer? No. Mr. Reed of Nevada? Mr. Reed of Nevada? No.
Are there any senators wishing to vote or to change their vote? On this vote, the yeas are 12, the nays are 88. Under the previous order requiring 60 votes for the adoption of this amendment is not agreed to. Under the previous order, there are now 2 minutes of debate.
Madam President, I ask unanimous consent. I ask unanimous consent to withdraw the pending Landrieu second-degree amendment number 244 and the Johanns amendment number 161.